When that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning to them. Fear is a tool. The Batman was written and directed by Matt Reeves, who's directed The Pallbearer, Let Me In, Cloverfield, Dawn and War of the Planet of the Apes. Also written by Peter Craig, whose credits include The Town, Hunger Games Mockingjay, 12 Strong, and Bad Boys for Life. And this is the latest installment telling the story of Bruce Wayne, Batman, the Vigilante. I'm Vengeance, the Dark Knight, the man that will save Gotham City, the man that will bring justice to any criminals that dare plague the streets of this famed city that looks a lot like New York City, but that was pretty goddamn obvious from the word go when it came to especially the more recent editions of Batman, anything, whether it was told by Christopher Nolan, whether it was told by Tim Burton, even though Tim Burton certainly put his own interesting spin on it. Joel Schumacher, we don't really talk about the Joel Schumacher ones. There's been a lot of Batman movies and a lot of retelling of Bruce Wayne's origin story and all that. This isn't quite doing the same thing that the Christopher Nolan series did that was really, really good, and actually probably outside the Tim Burton version, the best rendition of telling Batman's story, even with the unevenness. And this is also streaming on HBO Max, and as well, it's still playing in theaters. So you have one of two options. As you can tell by the lateness of this review compared to when it was released in theaters, I decided to go with the former option. There's a reason for this. Well, one, I was very busy at the time, and by the time I could have gotten to it, I had other movies to get to, and also my time was limited because I was working a lot. And I thought, okay, I have today off, it's on HBO Max, why not fucking dive into it and see what all the goddamn hype is about? Spoilers will be coming up a lot later. I do want to say, and this might end up being a lengthy review, and I wasn't so sure how I was going to feel about Robert Pattinson, aka Edward from Twilight. He is doing his best to escape from that. He was also terrific in The Lighthouse. It was directed by Robert Eggers, and I'll be seeing his latest movie, Robert Eggers, that is, The Northman, on Friday. I'm really looking forward to that. But Robert Pattinson is actually a pretty damn good actor. He was, again, really, really good in The Lighthouse. He's been good in other stuff. And I wasn't so sure how he was going to do, but I'm like, okay, at least he can't be any worse than Ben Affleck was as Batman. And I'm sorry, Ben Affleck's Batman sucked. It was just fucking terrible. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that I don't really care for Ben Affleck. And sure, you could point out the George Clooney one in Batman and Robin. That movie was doomed from the fucking start. You're not sending me to the cooler. But I'm a Batman fan. But I still didn't want to sit down for nearly 3 fucking hours in the theater. I just figured I'll just watch it at home. I didn't expect it to be released so soon, but I'm really glad it was. And here's my summary, basically, before I dive into more details, how I felt about the movie. They fucking nailed it. They absolutely fucking nailed it. Perfect balance between Bruce Wayne's detective skills and Bruce Wayne fighting, and using, the Batman stuff and everything, using the suit and all the gadgets and all that. But definitely the smarts, the detective work. This was fucking terrific. This was like one of the Arkham games come to life, just without, the lengthy, series of just beating up goons that have no goddamn name and have the same goddamn voice acting because you can only spend so much goddamn money on pretty graphics and everything before you're like, well, shit, we got to kind of phone this stuff in. But enough about video games. This movie was fucking terrific. It was well worth waiting to watch it at home. And I would advise, unless you want the theatrical experience, to just watch it in your house. This was fucking great. They nailed the casting. Colin Farrell was unrecognizable as Oz, a.k.a. the Penguin. And then you had Paul Dano, who was the Riddler. And I wasn't so sure how I was going to feel about there being 2 or even kind of 3 villains, because you also have Selena Kyle, a.k.a. Catwoman, the absolute goddess that is Zoe Kravitz. Sweet fucking Christ. Whew. God, she was certainly distracting in this movie, wasn't she? Jeffrey Wright was Lieutenant Gordon, and you had Alfred, played by Andy Serkis, and then you had John Turturro, who thankfully didn't have any robot balls swinging by him. If you get that reference, you get that reference. But I was a little bit nervous seeing, the runtime, the amount of villains, and what they were going to do. How are they going to fill this? Were they just going to stretch this motherfucking thing out to the point where it's going to be like the Justice League Zack Snyder cut? Which I did watch, I didn't review because I didn't give a shit. Because while it was good, I was like, okay, it was a movie. It was a movie, and that much I'm going to leave it at. I was a little bit nervous about it, but thankfully all those guilts, worries and everything were washed away pretty quickly. I will say my only complaint about this movie is how long it was. I'm probably not going to revisit this anytime soon because it's a commitment to watch it. But it's really fucking terrific. A lot of this shit goes by really fast. Matt Reeves put a lot of fucking effort into this. Warner Bros. Poured a ton of money into this. And Robert Pattinson did a phenomenal fucking job as Batman. Basically, the plot, such as it is, involves Riddler targeting various people and leaving clues for Batman as to if he has a grand plan or if he's just trying to bring Gotham to its fucking knees and trying to get at Batman. What do these clues mean? Is he just insane? He's obviously smart, but why would he be doing this? What's going on? So they have to delve into the mystery. Gordon and Batman team up. Catwoman obviously is there for a bit. I mean, Selena Kyle factors into this, where she's kind of an in-betweener, kind of a tweener, as it were. She does heroic stuff, but she's also very obviously a bit of a tortured soul herself. And I guess another slight complaint is, while I understand why they did it, some of this movie is so goddamn dark, you need a freaking 500 kilowatt bulb to just figure out what the hell's going on. But then they don't make it dark for the sake of trying to hide the fact that they didn't have anything going on. They actually did. That's the problem, though. It was so goddamn dark and murky. You're like, what's going on here? Why am I staring at nothing but just a bunch of... Oh, there it is. Oh, shit. Okay, that's happening. So, yeah, sometimes it maybe got a little bit artsy for its own good. But those are minor quibbles. Because this movie's really fucking terrific from the opening to the closing. And it's very crowd-pleasing, especially if you were a fan of the Batman movies. If you're a fan of the Batman lore. If you have noticed, there's a severe absence of superhero movies that I have reviewed on my channel, and there's a reason for that. And I will tell you the reason for that. Because I have been kind of superheroed out. It's part of the reason why I don't review all that many of them. But basically, there's a great balance between Robert playing Bruce Wayne and trying to figure this stuff out, use his smarts, his detective work, the vast amount of money and resources that he has. And the fact that he keeps getting one-up by the Riddler, who seems to, kind of come from meager beginnings, but it's just so goddamn smart. He's using his brain. And Colin Farrell is the Penguin. He kind of steals the show, and apparently he's getting his own spinoff, as he should. He's, again, almost unfucking recognizable. And the other characters balance this shit out. It proves that Gotham has been a corrupt city since... even around the time that Bruce Wayne's parents were alive. And all this is taking place around the 20-year anniversary of his parents' death. Where he was just a boy, and we find out more shit that's going on. How some characters, they got some layers that got to be peeled back and everything. John Turturro's really good in this, and other actors are very good. There's a lot of really good shit to unpack here. It was... fucking phenomenal, pretty much from beginning to end. I mean, again, like the minor quibbles I talked about, but it is what it is. I am going to get into spoilers here, but first I will say the action is really, really good. The fights are really good. The fact that the gun usage is kind of nice. They reference the fact that he doesn't use guns. Why his parents got shot. There was a lot of good stuff here, and Robert Pattinson fucking nailed it. Just absolutely fucking nailed it. I will get into spoilers here. But I will say that if you got HBO Max, please fucking watch on HBO Max. Give yourself some time, get some snacks, make sure you got access to a bathroom, pretty close, because you're going to fucking need it. But it is well worth the investment. I'm just glad I decided to watch it at home. But that being said, really fucking terrific. Now we're going to get into spoilers. So 3, 2, 1, spoilers! Okay, so if you're still here, spoilers. So, the Riddler goes around killing people, including killing the mayor and bludgeoning him and everything. And for a PG-13 movie, this kind of nails the darkness and nails the grit of it. We see an opening of Bruce fighting crime in a subway. That was actually pretty good stuff. And he's like, I'm vengeance. He has shock gloves. Just, does that stuff and everything. So there's the investigation in the mayor's murder. He's got tape around his mouth and his head. No more lies, because the Riddler is tired of, the lies not being exposed, that the various people in the government, the local government, have lied to the people of Gotham, especially the people that have meager means to get by. So, there's various clues and riddles and stuff like that. I will say that Paul Dano is the Riddler, if that name's, or Dano, rather, is the Riddler, if that name sounds familiar, I drink your milkshake, I drink it up. He was the guy that Daniel Day-Lewis beat the shit out of at the end of There Will Be Blood. Sorry if that's spoilers, but that movie has been out for 15 fucking years. What does a liar do when he's dead? He lies still. Aha! And how, we get narration from from Bruce Wayne, the city's eating itself. They went deep with the dramatic music and the panning shots and everything, and a bit of slow-mo, but not nearly as much as Zack Snyder in Army of the Dead. Sweet fucking Christ, make it stop. But he has journals, Batman does, and studies the crimes and everything, and has a lot of tech behind him, because of course he fucking does. Alfred is almost an afterthought here, until like one particular plot point. Robert worked great here. He worked great. He did the, again, as the aforementioned balance between detective work and stuff like that. When you first see the Penguin, you just can't fucking believe it's Colin Farrell. And he does it great. Colin Farrell is a bit of an odd duck. You read up on him, you'll see what I mean. But when he nails the fucking roles, he nails the roles. Now, he was the best part of the 2003 movie Daredevil, besides seeing Jennifer Garner in those outfits. But he was the best part of the goddamn movie. Bullseye. So now at least he got to be in a good DC movie. So, Riddler says he will kill again. And Zoe Kravitz has a friend named Annika that she's trying to help, and she also has some stray cats. And Batman was spying on her through the window. Oh, I see. It's okay when Batman does this, but when I do that, I'm kicked out of the apartment. And Catwoman and Batman face to face. She's trying to help her friend. Somebody took her passport. Somebody poisoned the water hole. And Riddler wants to bring down the city. And boy, does he try to later. You got a lot of cats. I have a thing about strays. Catwoman and Batman go back and forth. Or, well, Selina. It's pretty obvious. She's not really good at hiding who she is. Bruce ain't exactly good at hiding who he is, but people kind of have to play dumb for the sake of the movie. Cops of all kinds are at this club that Selina works at, including the people that are into dropping, doing drugs and everything, and the DA, who spouts a lot of exposition about all the shit that's going on. Oh, people are being targeted. This Riddler's really smart. And then the Riddler ends up getting to the DA. The factors in a little bit later. So keeping up the Bruce Wayne image is hard. No more lies from the citizens. They're saying no more lies because they're either backing Riddler or they're idiots. It's really hard to tell. So the mayor funeral had a lot of exposition and a lot more exposition. And Bella Real, the actress's name escapes me right now, but I do recall seeing her and stuff. She's the mayoral-elect. She is trying to bring corruption down, but also once she gets elected, she wants to help people. She wants to do good. So, they're at the funeral in this big old plaza, and then suddenly a car crashes in. What the hell? It's the DA, and he's got a bomb around his neck. And he has to answer questions, 3 riddles. And he doesn't answer the last one, because the last one was saying the name of the person that he's been protecting. And he won't. And then he blows up, and then Batman gets rocked. Because he was really close to that explosion, and even though he's the Dark Knight, he almost went out like a dark light. So, then Batman gets taken to the police station. Gordon helps him leave, and the police were all chasing after him. It's the Benny Benny Hill show. I ruined that, moving on. Then he tries to escape with a parachute, but unfortunately doesn't factor in the physics and just slams himself right on the goddamn bus. That looked like really goddamn painful. Or at least it would have been if it wasn't computer generated, but I digress. He's trying to figure out, what the Riddler meant by a rat. What's going on? Is the Riddler just doing riddles, or is there actual rat stuff going on? There's also a side story between Selina Kyle and Falcone, John Turturro's character, because it turns out that he knew her mother, in the sense that he's her father. And then also there's this guy Kenzie, this other cop that's very, 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 very corrupt, because all cops are corrupt in Gotham. And then there's a shootout with the Penguin at one point in this area, and then the Batmobile just there, hiding. Nobody saw it over there. I don't know why that was funny to me. And then Lieutenant Gordon races, getting shot, and then gets stuck behind his door while more bullets are flying. What was the point of driving into the goddamn gunfire? You could have shot them from there, but whatever. The race is on in the falling rain. Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain. The penguins yelling, oh great. I got the bat forevermore. Oh wait, shit, he's on my ass. Okay, that's not exactly the best rendition of that song, but where'd all this traffic come from is what I wrote down. The traffic just seemingly came out of nowhere. Traffic out of nowhere. The Penguin gets caught, and then Gordon and Batman are talking to him. What the hell is this? Good cop, bat shit cop? That was actually pretty funny. And, oh, you're the rat. I'm not the rat. I didn't kill anybody. And maybe he didn't. Maybe somebody else did, because he basically says it was Falcone that did it. It turns out that somebody else caused this problem. By the way, there is also a website. You find out a little bit later. Penguin just gets left. Right there while there's a website that's looked up about the rat, who the rat could possibly be. There's an old orphanage. It was the old Wayne, part of the Wayne estate and everything, but it was left in disarray because everybody was mourning the fact that Bruce Wayne's dad was dead. And then Gordon and him go to do some stuff. There's a lot of drop heads, aka druggies, in the orphanage. The sins of the father will be passed on to the son. So it all ties back to Bruce. And then he grills Catwoman about this stuff. After Alfred is blown up by a C4 explosive, but he's not actually dead. He's just in a hospital. And then he grills Catwoman. It turns out the Falcone's her father. He was all this. He feels bad for what he did. God fucking damn it, Zoe Kravitz. Good God. Fucking goddess. That's all I'm going to say. The Riddler sure hates the Waynes. He's doing live stream stuff of these crimes and everything and all this stuff that he's doing. And turns out Falcone was like, your dad, he was a good guy, but when pushed, he would do something like pay me to take care of a guy that was trying to dig up dirt on him. And then I did. And then Alfred says, no. He didn't think that he would kill that guy and that your dad was actually a good man and was going to go confess to the police. And then that's why his dad got shot. So a whole bunch of stuff getting layered on this stuff. Layers on top of layers on top of layers. What really happened? So turns out this guy Marconi killed Bruce's father because he was, maybe possibly that's what Falcone says. And then Alfred says what he says. And then Catwoman's beating up that guy Kenzie because of all the shit that he's done. And the fact that Annika is recorded on the phone being strangled and killed. It's like Nancy Benoit being tied up in the phone right now. Moving on from that, the reason that all this happened, there's all this corruption, is there was this renewal fund set up. It was a charitable fund that wasn't traceable, and people could just dip it. Money could be put into it, it could be pulled out, and nobody would see the white. That's why nobody got help. None of the people with meager means got helped. And then there's the chase that's on to find the Riddler, and he stops her from shooting Falcone, but Falcone ends up getting shot because John Turturro can't make it out of any movie without getting killed, seemingly. Or having his mind poisoned like he did in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Boy, that's a callback right there. I'd watch that. Should rewatch that sometime. So, we get to chase on for the Riddler. And it turns out that the Riddler was actually just in the Riddler was just in a diner at some point. We get Arkham type fights where it's among the gunfire. And Penguin is all shocked about what's going on and everything. Like, I didn't know this was going to happen, even though Penguin's pretty goddamn smart. And all these riddles tie to where they get into Riddler's apartment. They find out that he's in a diner. And there was a clue in a bat cage about the mayor's, the tool that was used to kill the mayor. Basically, it was him, even though they knew that. But there might be more to this because they capture him and there's way, way, way too much time. Way too much time. In fact, I believe they forgot all about us. They could only talk about Bruce Wayne, the orphan, the one who, you lost your dad, but you had money. We had nothing. The Riddler's proud of what he did. Your mask is amazing. We all wear masks. They try to unmask you and all this stuff. And we did this together. Batman's like, we didn't do this together. You're going to die alone in Arkham. Nobody will remember you. And Riddler's all upset. We can watch it all, he says. Watch what? Oh, you're not as smart as I thought you were. I left you all the clues. He's going to set off some explosions in some vans at strategic parts around the city and flood the city. Why? Because he's the Riddler and he's insane. Paul did great here, getting how insane he was. And basically, he has a whole lot of followers that are dressed just like him, with the gas mask and flak jacket and all this stuff. They're in Gotham Square Garden because nailing more that they're in New York. The mayor is elected. Miss Bella, she is elected. She is going to be the mayor. But then the flooding happens, and they use that as a sanctuary. And then all these henchmen, these minions, come down and basically are shooting the place out and shooting these people and trying to do all this stuff in a little partition that's hanging there where the scoreboard happens when the Knicks play and when the Knicks win a game, which isn't that often because the Knicks are owned by an idiot. And if you know, you know. So, the mayor does get shot, but she's alive because I think she gets shot either in the arm or in the gut. I'm not exactly sure. And then Batman drops in, beats up some people, but does get shot at one point by a shotgun. That was kind of funny. I don't know, basically because the guy's like, oh, gunfire isn't taking him out. Shotgun, there we go. Let's do that. Catwoman saves the day, briefly, and then he takes some... I'm not as up to date on my Batman stuff, but he had some kind of energy shot thing and injects it into his leg and goes all raging, ba, 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 and starts bashing this guy's head in. And then it turns out that they managed to stop the goddamn deal because Batman sees this electrical thing is hanging up, and he cuts the deal to kill the electricity and not shock people, but he drops into the water. Then he gets a flare out and gets people to safety. So the Riddler's upset because even though he caused destruction, he didn't kill the Batman, he didn't flood Gotham as much as he wanted. The city's in disarray. Batman says it will get worse before it gets better. The Penguin obviously is going to be a big deal in this whole thing. And then the Riddler's just seeing all this stripped away from him. He's upset. No! And a voice says to Riddler, what is it they say? One day you're on top. The next, you're a clown. Gee, I wonder who that is. It's Joker. It's fucking Joker. That's who it is. I don't know who's playing the Joker. I have no idea. But it's going to be interesting. It's that same goddamn guy. He's got a pretty damn good voice. Gotham loves a comeback story. And then Selina is leaving. She offers, hey, it's the Bat and the Cat's got a nice ring to it. Why don't you come with me? No, I will not. I will save the day here. And then they separate. God, if I got the chance to, be that close to Zoe Kravitz. I mean, I don't know who would turn down the opportunity to be that close to Zoe Kravitz or have Zoe on top of you like that. Moving on from that, I kind of like Zoe Kravitz, in case you can't tell. Who wouldn't? So, that's basically it. And Batman's racing back to the city on his motorbike. And that's it. And there you go. Is there a lot more to unpack? Sure, there's a lot more to unpack. Leave your thoughts on this movie in the comments, please. And also, A+. It gets an A+. It is one of the best superhero movies I've seen in a while. I didn't keep up on all the Marvel stuff, but I respected what they did. This is easily the best DC movie they've done in a while. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.